Welcome, welcome, welcome to another edition of the Platinum Initiative podcast. I'm Waz, and joined as always by
That
Dex
would be me.
and Healed.
Hey, good to be here.
What an excellent week it's been. I don't know about you guys, but I finished another game off my list. It was Detroit Become Human. Got Platinum Trophy in less than a week's time, which is pretty good for me considering I don't seem to have a whole lot of time to play games lately. But it was a pretty good
Okay, I'm
game.
gonna ask you a couple of questions about that game later on, but I haven't played anything at all this week, if I'm being honest with you. Except, wait, I guess I played some Monster Hunter. Got a couple
See.
of crowns, but otherwise, not much.
Yeah, getting closer.
What's a crown?
Basically, the monsters can come in different sizes, and there's a trophy for getting the smallest monster and the largest monster. So there's a gray jogress. That's a type of monster. So you have to get the largest version of it and the smallest version of it. There's the small crown and the large crown. That's basically it. And it's
Yep.
all RNG. It's pretty annoying if I'm being honest, but I got a few of them done this week. I think I have 4 left, maybe 5.
I think it's 5 because you always forget the Kieran.
Yeah, I think I must have killed like 20 to 30 Kierans this week trying to get that large boy, but no success there. Me and my friend are just sick of seeing that dumb unicorn.
Maybe one day you'll catch up to my 200 Black Diablos kills.
Wait, hold on. Are you using a figure of speech with the unicorn, or is it an actual unicorn?
It's an actual
it's like
unicorn.
a lightning unicorn. It's annoying.
It's a dragon horse with the unicorn horn, and it's like based off of Asian myths. Like it's a mythological creature.
Yep.
Okay. Well, because all I've pretty much seen on the game is a couple of clips, and then the box art is in my head, and it's like you say a unicorn, it's like it's a completely different game than I'm thinking of.
Well, it's not a pink sparkly unicorn from My Little Pony, but it's the horse.
Hey, there's no that sounds like a really fun game, going around and chasing My Little Pony characters and.
Okay, but you kill them, so that's not
that's
a cool.
I'm sure some people would find that enjoyable.
Hey, I mean, does it have an easy platinum?
To each their own. Exactly.
But for anyone interested, I saw that Monster Hunter World is on sale right now for like $19 on Amazon. So if you haven't picked up the game yet, you might want to check it out. Because
Yeah, that's like 12 cents an hour in gameplay, isn't it?
I have over 300 hours in the game. I guess you would probably subtract like 40 to 50 from just idle time. But yeah, you're gonna get a ton of game time if you like the game and are actually willing to put it in. But yeah, there's a ton of stuff to do.
300.
Very, very fun. And yes, some of us play games that are longer than a couple of hours long.
True.
No, I guess I recently did the Assassin's Creed Odyssey,
That's
which
true.
for the platinum, I think a lot of people said 60 or maybe even 70. It took me a little bit longer than that. But honestly, I will avoid games if they're above 40 hours. And it's sad. Other than basketball games, apparently, I'll keep playing those. But
I kind of get it. I mean, you have a family and, responsibilities and all that. But there's some games that I looked at, like Red Dead Redemption 2, for example. Red Dead Redemption 1, for those of you that don't know, is my favorite game of all time. Red Dead 2 is like a 200 plus hour platinum. I wouldn't be able to survive knowing that game is out there and I hadn't played it. Like, I just can't. Some games are worth it. Some games are definitely worth it.
right, and that's a really good example of a game I passed up because it takes too long. Because even non-trophy hunters were saying that the story itself would take 80 to
Oh
100 hours.
no,
Whether that's whether
that
that's
is
true or
not
not.
true at all. You can beat that game in 30 to 40 hours probably. So yeah, if you're
But
if you're
regardless, if you're going after the trophies, single player is going to run you what,
yeah, at
100?
least because you have to hunt all the animals in the game. There's like 170 of them. You have to skin them all. There's a bunch of like side quests that you have to do. It's at least 100. And then the online, which is by far the worst part of the game. They ruined the online in this game. That's gonna take you another like 100 hours to get to level 50. So, yeah, unfortunately, the online ruins that game.
Sounds like a pain for sure.
I've been playing the online since the week after it came out, and I'm level 15 or 50. I
15?
mean, honestly, I haven't put that much
Wow.
time into it. I'm just like I play it for like half an hour, get bored, and then drop it. I'm trying, but the XP grind in that game is just a bit too real. There is an exploit. If you get to the final mission of the online, you can basically die at a certain point and just redo the mission over and over, get a bunch of XP. But I haven't even gotten up to that. That's how boring the online is.
That doesn't say a whole lot about the game that you're getting bored half hour
No,
into
no,
it,
but just the
and that they
online. The single player portion of the game, in my opinion, is close to a masterpiece. I love the story, I love the open world. Almost everything besides the controls is amazing in Red Dead Redemption 2. But the online is garbage.
why why do you say besides the controls?
They try to make it a bit too realistic and just like there's unnecessary input lag. Like you'll move the analog stick to the left and your character will take like a second and a half to actually turn. And then when
Oh, that would drive me
and then
insane.
when you're like investigating something inside like a house or a shop, moving around and picking stuff up, it just feels off. And they went for realism, and honestly, it didn't work. So
It reminds me. I mean, I'll probably be in the minority on this one, but it reminds me of some of the changes they've done to just careful healed. I'm going to talk about sports here for a second, but what they keep doing to the Madden games, and I don't know, Dex, you probably haven't played them, but they uh, NBA Live feels like this too, where they try to make the motion of the athletes more realistic, but it feels like there's just so much lag because, well, we've created an engine that allows for the the player you're controlling to have, hundreds of muscles and all their joints and all this, and it feels very delayed and almost non-lifelike. The we are playing athletes are supposed to react like instantaneously, hence why they're playing and I'm not, right? And it just feels like the exact opposite. So yeah, if Red Dead's like that would just drive me insane 2 minutes in.
you you get used
If
to it. I definitely got used to it within like the first half hour, but it, it's something that you can't really ignore when you're reviewing the game. Like it's there. It could have been better.
so is it just like more of a character lag, or are they trying to almost have it feel like you're telling a story? You're not controlling the character, you're
I
telling a
feel like that's
story.
what they were going for and failed, and it just feels like character lag because they failed. But that's just my opinion. Everything else about the game is great though. And in my opinion, one of the best stories ever told in a video game.
Nice. The game I just finished is like kind of the exact opposite, but yeah, Rage 2. I just finished that up tonight. Um, it is a wonderful game. like gameplay wise. Story wise, they kind of maybe a little bit made it a joke, but I mean they did it on purpose. It's not their
Is it like
fault,
a parody
really.
type of story?
like a Saints
Yes.
Row.
Yes, it's like a parody of games pretty much. It's like, okay, they basically what they did was they took like an old B movie and then made it the storyline and then just made it ridiculous.
But it doesn't sound too bad.
Everybody has crazy weird names that make no sense. Like there's this guy that I saved which I saved him in a base that I had to infiltrate, right? And his name was Dick Cocker Spaniel. That was his actual name.
Alright, moving on from Rage 2. No, honestly, that game looked really good from the trailers, and I really do want to get it at some point. It was never going to be a day one buy for me, but I do want to get it at some point. Is it at least fun?
Oh yeah, it is like probably the most fun I've had with the game, mostly because of the combat. It's like so high action that it's just like, okay, the best way to explain it is if you took Doom, which is already good right here, and then you added in like special powers, like when you jump, you have this thing where you can jump in the air and then you make a black hole on the ground and it sucks the enemies in, then you do a smash and it explodes everything, right? And there's one where you come up and you like face palm, like you smack your palm into somebody and then all their bones in their body break and they go flying. And there's one that's like you make a singularity. It's like really cool stuff like that. And then you can pair it with the weapons, which have special powers also, because each one has the normal fire and the alt fire, and it just makes for some crazy combos.
All right. So you finished the game, right? 100%. What would you rate it on a scale of 1 to 10?
I would probably personally give it an 8, just because the story wasn't the greatest, but the gameplay was awesome.
You know,
it also doesn't take that long.
You know that I just finished Doom a couple weeks ago, and I gave it an 8.5 out of 10. Now I know I'm really late on Doom, by the way. I'm like 3 years late, but so would you say that Doom is around the same as Rage 2?
Yes, sort of. The difference between Doom is Doom doesn't have any sort of downtime, really. It's missions, and you do the missions, and it's the end. This one's got an open world, so you have the downtime of driving your car around to the different bases, which makes it it has really high action moments and then really relaxing moments, as opposed to Doom, which is just high action all the time.
Alright, fair enough. I'll probably check it out when it goes on sale.
I would definitely recommend it. It's also only like a 20 to 40 hour platinum, so...
Is Doom open world?
No.
Very
it's
linear.
Missions.
Oh, good for them.
I'm telling you, Oz, you would have loved Doom. You missed out.
You did miss out on a lot of running.
Can't play them.
I'm telling you, Doom is like the Woz type of platinum. Super easy story. Just like walk through a corridor, kill a bunch of shit. No difficulty really in it. And then the multiplayer trophies are basically just walk back and forth if you're boosting it.
Yeah, it would have been perfect for you.
Yeah, I don't mind playing actual multiplayer. I hate the I'll call it the Call of Duty experience where you spawn and you're sniped in less than a half second, and repeat that 10-15 times. Eject disk, take back to store, or throw in the trash.
All right.
That was my Call of Duty experience. I actually tried to play, I don't know, forget which one. I was like, yep, I'm done. So
I haven't.
Yeah, I mean, it's yeah, I do joke around that I'm not that great at certain video games. So I mean, not to say anything about Doom. I think for the most part, why I'm not as great is because I've kind of conditioned myself to not have the patience to try. So when you like, I'll play on easy mode, hands down. Easy mode, story mode, give me those all day long, and I'll just play the crap out of those because I don't have to. I just go run and gun into an area. I don't have to sit there and plan. I just go. So, but but which does ruin you over time. Do that for a decade, and we'll see how good you are.
That's fair.
This actually leads me to the next topic. We had somewhat of a disagreement last week. We were talking about Beyond Two Souls, which, in my
Oh, you're gonna get
opinion,
riled up.
is one of the worst games I have ever played. Okay, so this led to an argument because I said that Beyond Two Souls has absolutely no gameplay and is one of the most boring, bland, uninteresting stories I've ever experienced in a video game. Was disagreed.
Okay, so let's tackle the story part first, because that speaks to this game, whereas the gameplay speaks to a wider kind of genre. But the story itself, I disagree, but that's your opinion. You know, my wife can't stand Indiana Jones, so there you go. People can like one thing and other people can hate it. Trust me, you guys seen Indiana Jones, for the love of God, please.
Yes.
Okay. Well, Dex, it seems like half the movies I named you haven't seen.
I wasn't
That's
born in the
awesome.
60s. What do you want from me?
Well,
Well,
first of all,
I say you haven't
the
seen.
Indiana Jones movies came out in the 80s.
You've named like one
Thank you.
movie.
No, I have said multiple movies that I like a lot. Although some of them might be sort of
We're
old,
getting
but,
off
you know.
track. Wise, go back to defending your terrible
Okay,
opinions.
First of all, I will defend my terrible opinions till the day I die. So no, I mean the story is what it is. I thought the story was good enough. Is it going to win awards for, you know, the end of the year when they take all of the various video game stories and compare them to one another? No, not necessarily. But I certainly wouldn't say, oh, careful, get on the run.
Welcome to New York City.
But I certainly wouldn't say that it was a horrible story by any means. I thought it was entertaining. I thought the twists were
No
engaging enough.
spoilers. I haven't finished it yet.
I
Every
know,
time I
that's-
turn it on, I fall asleep.
That's why it's hard for me to talk about it right now. I'm speaking very
I'm
generally.
like halfway through, and I've been playing the game for 8 months. And I think what really trips me up, like, I don't know if people know this, but you can play the game, at least the PS4 version. I don't know how it was in the PS3. You can play the game in two ways. You can play the game chronologically, or the way the director meant for it to be played, apparently. Where the entire story, like every chapter, is out of order. Like in one
Yes.
chapter,
The
girl, the main character, is like 7 years old, and then in the next chapter she's 22, and then the one after that she's back to 7, then she's 14.
That's how you're supposed
That
to play
is
the
how
game.
I'm playing it right now. That is my first playthrough,
Yes.
and I just don't find that interesting. I have a hard enough time following the story, like chapter to chapter, but then remembering what happened 2 chapters ago, where she was 7 again, like, it's just...
Well, hold on. That's because you've been playing it for
That's
8
because it
months.
keeps putting me
Think
to
about-
sleep.
Think about watching a movie. Just pick any movie and watch 10 minutes of it. You watch the next 10 minutes a month later, another 10 minutes a month after that. Of course you're not going to remember what happened.
Well,
It's why when TV shows come out with their new season, they a lot of times have a, you know, event where they're playing the previous season, so you can remember. It's like, oh yeah, there was that guy and that happened to him, and
I
Of
mean,
course you're
okay,
going to be confused.
but take that and then watch the 10 minutes out of order in the TV show.
Yeah.
So 10 minutes from the beginning, 10 minutes from the end, 10
You-
minutes from the middle, then the next 10 minutes from the beginning.
And on top of that, add in the fact
hold
that
on,
it's
hold
not
on, hold on, hold on.
interesting.
Hold on. Ignore the non-interesting part, right? Because that's something we'll just keep arguing about.
I'm just
there's no
joking
point,
around.
right?
I mean, I don't find it interesting, but it doesn't mean that it's not interesting.
Right, but with the story being out of order, first of all, there's lots of games, movies, television shows that are like that. The writer and I guess video game director did that on purpose because when you're playing, I think it starts off. Correct me if I'm wrong, but she's doing like these psychic tests.
I don't know, Wash. That was 8 months ago when I
yeah.
played the first chapter.
Well, okay. But I think she's doing these psychic tests, and that's when you first take control of Aiden. Which you don't really know a whole lot about.
I remember this
and
chapter.
He's going into the other room with like a counselor, and they're like reading cards or something of that nature. You're not supposed to know what Aiden is. You're not supposed to know anything about. I can't remember her name. Is it Jody?
I think so.
Yeah, you're not supposed to know anything about them at that point. And then I think one or two scenes later, it might be the next one when she's really young and she's at a daycare, or I guess a pseudo daycare because it's this company. And then the following scene, she's working for the CIA, or at least you think she is. That's the point. When they released on the PS4, and I'm not sure if it was patched later on the PS3 and they added this in, but I think it was only PS4 where they did the out of order story. I have no idea why anyone would ever want to play it that way, because to me that's like watching it out of order. In chronological order is watching it out of order, because you're supposed to have mystery. At the very end of the game, there are things that you get answered.
I get that, but the problem is it's jumping through like 4 different time periods of her life and like jumbling. If it was just like her as a 6-year-old girl, I mean her as a 20-something-year-old woman, and it's just jumping between her past and her present, that's fine. Like I don't know if you guys have seen the show Lost, but Lost would do that a lot. But it's like 4 different age periods for the same person. It's just all mixed up. Like I'm not gonna follow this. I don't know. It's not for me. The only reason I'm playing it is because it's an easy platinum and I already started it. I really liked Until Dawn. I know it's not the same developer, but it's somewhat similar game style, and so I thought I would like this game. And then it was free on PS Plus last year, I want to say, so I downloaded it. It's not for me. That's all I'll say. After shitting on it for 10 minutes. But my other problem with the game though is I can tolerate a game where I'm not interested in the story if it's fun. This game is not fun if you're not interested in the story because there's no gameplay.
Oh, of course. I don't disagree with that. If you don't, well, hold on. Not the no gameplay thing. I'm going to argue about that. But the game's not fun for you if you don't enjoy the story, because that is the point of the game.
Uh-huh.
The point of the game is the story. So if you don't like it, of course you it's not for you. And it's of course not for everybody.
But that's a problem with these types of games. They have to pull you with the story. And this one just didn't do it.
Certainly. But that's again just the point on movies is to say, just name me a movie. There's going to be someone that likes that movie and someone that doesn't like the movie. It's not for everybody. There is not one single thing that exists in this world that everyone's going to raise their hand and say, yes, I like that. You can even pick out, A Clockwork Orange, just to get you riled up. There's certainly people out there that do not like that movie or found it boring and stopped watching it.
Give me their names. I will find them. No, I'm kidding. But again, everything you're saying makes sense. But at the end of the day, it's supposed to be a game, and it's not. There's no
But
game there.
why do
Like, I'm not. We talked about this 2 weeks ago when this originally came up, or a week ago, however long it was. A game like Until Dawn, you are collecting things and you're making decisions that impact how the story will unfold. That doesn't really happen in this game. There's no
Okay.
puzzles. You walk down a corridor. You move the analog sticks to match them up with Aiden, and that's it. That's the game.
Well, first of all, it's not quite that simple. You can fail. You can get different endings based on how you make decisions. There is certainly a choose your adventure element.
Not as deep as games like Until Dawn or even the Telltale games. In my opinion, at least.
I think that it's as if not deeper than some of the Telltale
To be fair, I
games.
haven't played them all. I played the Walking Dead games, the Borderlands one, and I think one of the Batman ones or something.
Other than the new Batman one, I've played them all. And you're like, of course you
Yeah,
did.
I expect that from you, Oz.
Yeah.
But I can respect the Telltale games.
I think so. So the comment you made about it's linear, which I don't think it is. There's no gameplay or whatever. I think that's a very basic definition of what a game is.
Sure.
And how you started off when you were saying that there was collectibles and I know that was just one bullet point, right? But oddly enough, when you were explaining it, the first thing that popped in my head is you're relatively saying that Super Mario World is not a game.
How so?
Really?
They have like coins and stars and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those
Right.
are collectibles.
Oh, fine. Super Mario Brothers, the first one.
They have that in the first one.
There's the coins are not collectibles. They're just things. You don't if you collect the
Hold on,
coins in the
but
first
yeah,
game,
okay.
yes, you get an extra life, but it's not like you
My-
go to the
but
menu
my-
and
my
it's like,
point-
"Oh, look at all these coins I
My
collected."
point was that at least Until Dawn has something like that to take away from the fact that it has minimal gameplay. It has something for you to collect. It has choices for you to make that decide whether a character lives or dies. It keeps you interacting with the game. Whereas with Beyond Two Souls, I feel like they're just walking through a story.
Yes, that is the game.
So there is no gameplay.
No, there is gameplay.
Okay, so
Walking through a story is a movie.
what does gameplay mean to you, Oz?
Choice. There is choice in the game.
Okay, what?
There in Beyond Two Souls, I don't remember how many, but there's got to be at least 6 to 8 endings that you can get. I think there's more actually.
Healed. What does gameplay mean to you?
Some sort of activity that you do in the game. Not like anything crazy though. It could just be like jumping over a pit
Okay.
or solving a puzzle.
Okay, to me, gameplay is being presented with some sort of challenge or obstacle that you must overcome throughout the levels of the game. It could be a puzzle game. It could, the obstacle could just be puzzles. It could be like Super Mario, where you gotta make it to the end of the level without dying. Beyond Two Souls, the only objective in that game is get from point A to point B to see the next cutscene.
That is no different than any game, though. How is that different than playing the story of a Call of
Because
Duty
I'm
game?
shooting
Going from
people
point A to
that are
point B.
trying to stop me from getting to point B. That is the obstacle.
But
Exactly.
most of these games, like a Call of Duty, it is mapped out where
It
the
doesn't
enemies
matter.
are.
It
Am I
doesn't
right or
matter.
wrong? No, just go on this journey with me.
Okay.
It's mapped out where the
Sure.
enemies are, right? So you do get a choice of how you're going to take out the enemy. I can stealth go up and take them out. I can shoot my gun. I can throw grenade. So granted, there are some choices there. However, it is expected in the game for you to advance that you're going to take out that enemy, and you're going to take out that enemy, and take out that enemy. It is no more, or it is no less scripted than Beyond Two Souls. Beyond Two Souls, if you play, yes, okay, I have to hit the X button when it comes up, or I got to do the analog stick. If you don't, you fail, and your character dies, or you get a different enemy.
That going through a level of Call of Duty, even on the easiest difficulty, where if you just run, you'll die because you're not shooting to take out the obstacle, is the same as walking and pressing the A button at the right time?
No, I'm saying that you can't say something is a game or not a game because it's easier or more difficult.
I'm not saying Beyond Two Souls is not a game. I'm saying it does not contain gameplay. There's no obstacle or objective or anything besides getting to the end of the level to see the cutscene. No reply?
No, I think you need to go back and play the game a little more often than every 8 months.
Not every 8 months, just once every 6 weeks, I'd say, for the last 8 months. I do think it's a problem with other games similar to Beyond Two Souls. Like, I'm not just, bashing Beyond Two Souls. Yeah.
No, I get that. You're throwing the Heavy Rains and all that.
I haven't played that game, so I can't make a comment about that game.
Well, you're not going to like it because you don't like these games.
But I liked Until Dawn.
Well, Heavy Rain's got more going on in it.
Okay, well, if Shield says that... hold on, actually, wait. Shield, did you like Heavy Rain? Okay.
Yeah.
Alright,
liked it.
I feel like Shield gets where I'm coming from more than you are, so I feel like I might like Heavy Rain.
Although, to be fair, the reason I like Heavy Rain is because I got much more connected with the story out of the two. I just liked the mystery, like, crime-solving thing where you have to catch the killer and there's, like, high stakes, and there's also a lot of action stuff that happens in it. So.
Let me just be clear with one thing. If I like the story in Beyond Two Souls, I would have no issue with it having no gameplay. My issue is I don't like the story and it has no gameplay. But that's my personal opinion. I'm not saying that anyone else should have an issue with the game. Fair enough?
Sure. I still don't. And it's fine. We'll just keep different pages on that.
All right.
I don't understand your definition of gameplay. To me, if I have to hit a button, and I don't care if it's the only button on the screen, if I have to hit a button, and if I don't, something else happens, that is still gameplay. It may be very, very basic, and it may be very simple. It's still gameplay.
I'll change what I said. I'm not going to say it doesn't have any gameplay. It has the bare minimum of gameplay that a game could possibly have.
Close. You're a little too absolute on that.
You know what? You're right. Someone brought this up last weekend, there is a game worse than Beyond Two Souls. Cookie Clicker.
There you go.
Yes, I've seen my kids
I
play that.
cannot believe that
Okay.
people still play that game. I remember it was like a trend 2-3 years ago, and somehow people still play that game.
It's
I
kind of
have
weird.
no idea why. But whatever. So, have you guys heard of the PlayStation Xbox cloud-based partnership?
Yes, but
Yes.
it doesn't really interest me.
Okay, well, it was a big news topic this week, so I thought I would bring it up. But it's being blown way out of proportion. People are like spreading rumors that Halo is gonna end up on the PlayStation 5 and Uncharted's gonna be on the next Xbox because of this, and I'm like, where the hell did they get that from?
Nah, they're just weird.
So what I got from this is PlayStation is interested in getting into the cloud-based gaming platform, whatever you would want to call it, and they had three options. They had Google, Amazon, and Microsoft. They didn't want to go to Google because of the Google Stadia thing. They see Google as their major competitor, which is funny for a different reason. I'll get into that in a second. They see Google as a major competitor, and they didn't want to get into bed with them. They went to Amazon first. That was reported, and I'm not sure if they didn't like the deal or Amazon pulled out or what, but that didn't work out, and so they were left with Microsoft. And they were willing to work with Microsoft. Now, I said it's funny, but they don't see Google as they do see Google as competition. They don't see Xbox as competition, apparently.
Well, after this last time, I don't really blame them.
It's kind of sad, because I'm...
What do you mean after this
with
last
the
time?
Xbox One, I assume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I found that the news coming out was one of the most bizarre things that I had read. And I find it bizarre because, and by the way, I work in the corporate world. I understand that sometimes you get in bed with your competitors because it pushes you both along. Clearly, that's the case. However, in my business, we don't usually make that public. So here they are with this pseudo press conference, I guess, where they say that they're getting together with this cloud gaming or whatever the heck it is. At the end of the day, because who knows where it starts and where it stops. It's fairly general. Hence your Halo comment. It baffles me to, I guess what you were saying is Google is a competitor in this space, whereas Microsoft's not. Meanwhile, okay, hey guys, let's shake hands, and then you guys head in your cabs back to your hotel, and then you're fighting each other again. It's really, really weird.
Well, I was kind of joking about it, but if I want to analyze the situation, what I think Sony and Microsoft are both afraid of what Google could potentially do with their streaming service. And I think Sony held all the cards in this negotiation because they are the market leader in the console space. And I think that they know that Xbox isn't a threat right now, but Google could be a major threat down the line. They'd rather work with the enemy they know to take down the enemy they don't. I feel like that's probably why they went with Microsoft.
Probably. And when we're talking about cloud gaming, I invite anyone from Microsoft, Sony, Google, whoever wants to do it next, to come on over to my house, and we'll have the experience of what the internet truly is if you don't live in one of the 4 largest cities in the U.S. or you know, you don't live in London. The internet outside of those areas is very intermittent. We have data caps. Streaming and cloud gaming is not a very good future for us, and that's why, and I would have to imagine Sony knows these numbers. Digital sales are a lot slower and I'm going to speak for people in my town,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's very slow for people in my town because I have to go download that game. It's a pain. And there's still a lot of people just have really bad internet connections. And here we are in 2019. Yes, it happens. And the rest of the world is no different.
The rest of the world is worse
Um,
off, for being honest.
yeah. I mean, it's part of the reason why I haven't heard any news about it recently. But Facebook was gonna at some point they're gonna launch their wireless drone things in other countries so that people could connect to Facebook. Um, and at first I thought it was a joke, but it was actually legit. Google's still doing their Google Fiber in a bunch of different cities to get them up to speed on internet, and they're picking a lot of Midwest towns, smaller towns, kind of primarily seems to be college oriented from what I gather. But Google sees that, yet I guess they're still doing their cloud gaming. But what else are they gonna do? They're not gonna develop a console.
No,
I
they
mean,
won't.
the Oh Yeah just closed down
You
last
mean
week.
the
So
Ouya?
oh,
No,
oh
it's
yeah.
Ouya. Yep.
Oh, my pronunciation sounds much better. Maybe it would have been successful.
Possibly. uh,
Hey, do you want to come over? Do you want to come over tonight and play some games? Oh yeah.
oh God, was. Uh,
No.
Jesus Christ! I cringed so hard just now.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Indeed.
man.
How is it spelled?
Ouya. Yep.
I think it was Oh yeah.
It's Ouya. I've heard the designer talk about it in an interview. It's Ouya. Anyway, what I found surprising about this partnership is apparently people both at PlayStation and Xbox, higher ups, not like the the leader of PlayStation and Xbox, but like people higher up had no idea that this partnership was coming. It completely caught them off guard. It was something that was handled by like the top guy at PlayStation, and then the CEO of Sony, and then the top guy at Xbox, and the CEO of Microsoft. No one else at Xbox and PlayStation really knew that it was coming, and honestly, from what I read, they were actually upset by this news. Not sure why, but they were. So, I'm curious to see where this will lead. I don't think we'll see Halo on PlayStation anytime soon, even though that would be awesome. The only reason I have an Xbox One is for Halo, so wouldn't mind seeing Halo on PlayStation. Probably not happening though.
No, I don't. I don't. If that ever happened, then the two companies would just. I wouldn't say merge because you can't merge. I mean, someone's going to have to buy the other company.
If it were to
out.
happen, it would be because Microsoft is bowing out of the console race, and they're just gonna put their games on everything, kind of like Sega did. That's the only way I see it happening.
Yeah. Speaking of which, just to bring that up, so the PS5 is rumored to come out. What, this time next year, roughly?
November next year. Yeah.
November. Okay. So Xbox, they're working on their discless Xbox, which comes out later this year, right?
I'm not sure exactly when. It might already be out, but yeah,
Oh, okay.
between sometime now and the end of the summer, I would assume.
So, what's they haven't released any news about the next
Yeah,
Xbox,
they
then,
have.
have they?
They have. They actually released more news than PlayStation. There's no name for it, obviously, because they don't really go with numbers. There's code names, but there will be two Xboxes, Xbox, whatever. um,
Xbox
Xbox, okay. There will be two of them coming out at the same
Yeah,
time.
no.
One is supposed to be like the beefy, powerful version, and then the other one will be like the basic, less powerful console that's more for like the casual gamer. But it's rumored that they will be showing them at E3 next month, so we might find out in a couple of weeks when exactly they're coming out.
Why would they make two consoles, one less powerful than the other, unless the less powerful one is on par with the PS5?
Well, I I'm not sure because there's rumors that there's two PS5 units as well. I don't believe that rumor. I think they saw that some people are completely okay getting like the base Xbox One, for $200, $300, whatever it costs right now, and then other people are also okay buying the Xbox One X, which is more powerful and $500, and they just want to give people the choice. I don't. I'm not sure. I assume if there is one PS5 unit, then whatever the weaker Xbox One is will be weaker than the PS5. It'll be like a gateway console.
Yeah, think of it like this. It's like it's like it and not like it, but what they did with what Nintendo did with the DS, with the 3DS, they made the 2DS, which was the cheaper version that didn't have the 3D, so that there was a cheaper version of it. The thing that's like similar in the way that, it has the weaker version and they released them, but it's different because Xbox is releasing both of them off the bat, which is kind of weird. I would think that normally you would want to release one of them and then release the other one later, like they did with the One X, because then like the Pro too, because then by that point you've used your PlayStation, and if you want an upgrade, you spend the full amount of money another time to buy the upgrade.
The problem is that they basically screwed themselves this generation with the Xbox One and then the One X, because what do you release first? Do you release the stronger console and then risk half of your audience not buying it because they want to buy the weaker one later on for cheaper? Or do you release the cheaper one and then again risk half your audience not buying it because they would rather wait for the stronger one? But if you release them at the same time, you create market confusion.
The problem that they had wasn't that they released them like in a weird order. It's that they released three, because there wasn't just the One and the One X. No, there's the One S in between it too.
Now there's also the Xbox One SAD.
The SAD. Exactly. So there's gonna be 4 versions of it, but like the Xbox One, the original one, was the same as the PS4, and then the S gave it a slight little tiny boost in between, and then they did the One X afterwards when the PS4 Pro was the thing. So the problem was they split it up into 3. So if somebody was actually serious and cared about upgrades, they had to buy an Xbox 3 times.
They're kind of doing the same thing Sega did back in the day, where they're just releasing console after console, trying to get people to buy anything, basically.
I find it weird that it feels like Sony and Microsoft, or I shouldn't say Microsoft, I'll just say Xbox, that they're trying to model Apple, but they're coming at it 5 years too late. So they look at Apple and say, okay, well, every time they come out with a phone, there's, gosh, the last maybe 4 or 5 years now, they've had the regular and then the Plus for the iPhone. And certainly there's people that walk around with an iPhone 7. Meanwhile, there's the XR, or gosh knows what the top of the line is at the moment. It feels like that's what they're trying to do by creating a couple of consoles. However, there certainly, if you look at iPhones, there is market confusion. Apple's sales on phones are slowing, hence their move to do more new, like their news subscription and
Yeah.
magazines and things
I
of
can tell you
that
why they're
nature.
doing this. Um, 5 to 7 years ago, when Apple kind of started doing this, PC gaming wasn't as relevant. PC gaming right now is more relevant than it ever has been, and it's progressing at a rate that consoles cannot keep up with. So generally a console lasts 5 to 7 years before they release the next one. In 5 to 7 years, Nvidia, which is the market leader for graphic cards on the PC market, will release like 9 to 12 different GPUs in 5 to 7 years, if not more. They can't keep up with the PC market, and the PC market is just there's. I think Steam just announced that they have more than 200 million active users. They're afraid of the PC market. They think that if they don't consistently upgrade their consoles in every, let's say, 2 to 3 years, people will stop buying consoles and move to PC, where all you have to do is just swap out your graphics card and your PC is stronger.
But to that point, why launch? Let's say that the Xbox is going to have two different consoles, and let's just say it's two and not 4, 10, or whatever it is. And let's pretend that PlayStation's going to do. I guess if you're saying there might be two different PS5s, or rumor, who knows what the hell's actually going to happen? But let's just say that. But I mean, we have to stay with the Pro and then the standard for PS4. You're going to have games that, I guess there's got to be games they want to make today that they can't because the PlayStation 4 can't handle it. Or maybe, who knows, they're just going to come out with this super powered console and say, okay, well, now go make games that can work on that now that didn't work before. But either way, it's archaic thinking if they're trying to compete with PCs, because PCs are customizable, and they're coming out with a console and say, well, we're just going to create a new console every year. Maybe the answer isn't, I'm going to make a new console, is they sell you the box, and the box has a core set of parts in there. 3 years from now, if there's a different graphics processor, you slide something out of the top, plug a new
But
one
then
in.
what's the difference between that and a PC? You
There
just,
isn't any.
instead of having a
But
PC,
to their
you just
fear,
have an inferior box.
no. So, but you're saying right now, you're saying that they're competing with PCs and they're afraid
Yes.
of them. So what's their response? We're just going to come out with a bunch of different consoles
What
and
No, it's
make
okay.
new ones
what I'm
every 3 or
saying
4
is
years?
the point of consoles is the ease of use for the general public. You just plug it in, put your game in, let it install, and you play the game. If you're taking it apart and putting in new parts every 2 years, what's the difference? You might as well just buy a PC and do it with the PC. Wouldn't that push people away to PC even more?
No. Have you replaced your hard drive on a PS4?
No, but I know it's pretty simple.
Okay, it's simple, but that, I'm saying, would be that what I just pictured in my head, that would be too complex. I'm saying it's something as far as, like, when you're moving SD card, you push down on it and thing kind of pops out. I'm saying you want to move your graphics card, ping, the whole thing comes out. The new one, you take no screws out, nothing. And I'm not saying that that's what they should do. I'm just thinking that if you're chasing PC, that is a better future than just saying every 3-4 years I'm going to create a console. Sony's big problem right now is they've sold way too many PS4s.
Definitely, yeah.
So it's going to be really hard for people to go buy a PS5. We're the hardcore weirdo trophy hunters that a PS5 game comes out. It's like, oh my gosh, I have to get it. But think about it. If I didn't play games a lot, first of all, my kids wouldn't have PS4s. We'd have one, and they'd all have to share. We'd probably maybe still be on PS3, to be honest. But I would never buy them a PS5 until the thing dropped to like half the price of what the launch price is going to be. It wouldn't happen. Or they'd go buy one on their own, which, with no income other than me giving them birthday money, That's just not going to happen. That's their problem. They need to get more creative with a PS5, and if they're competing with PC, if that's truly what they're doing, then they need to create something that is actually competitive with it, and not hide and say, well, we're going to come out with this really fast console, and then we expect people to keep buying new versions of it.
Well,
like, why do people like PC gaming? Because they can pull out their graphics card, they can pull out their other thing. Now, granted, you need to know how to build a rig of a computer. You have to know, well, this part's going to work with this part.
You don't really need to know.
You have to know compatibility.
You don't need to know if you got a pre-built. There are websites.
Well, you could, but I'm saying, no. Of course they will. You can buy, a top of the line. I mean, that's going to cost you more than a console, though. A top of the line gaming computer, by far.
Of course, but they do last you longer. Also, Healed has been wanting to say something for a few minutes, so go ahead, Healed.
All right. So the reason that they do the multiple consoles thing is because you can't, when you're making developers make games for you, you don't want to make them have to make two full-on separate levels of the game just because your console is made 4 years ago in your 6-year cycle and it can't do it anymore. If you release something that's an update halfway through the cycle, then it hits the, at least what they need to not make two whole separate versions of the game. For example, if you look at Rage, right, the one I just played, well, the PC game is it has a way higher specs on it, right? It has higher graphics and higher FPS and all that shit, but it wouldn't have been possible to play it at the same, it's a much different level between the PS4 Pro and the normal PS4 playing wise for this game, because it has a really low cap FPS wise on normal PS4, and it raises the cap decently to something that's manageable on a PS4 Pro.
It's an interesting conversation. Honestly, we could probably talk about this for its own separate podcast. As someone who has dabbled in PC gaming, and primarily I am a console gamer, I have a lot to say, but honestly, this just isn't the right time. I think we have to see what exactly the PS5 is. Let these rumors be squashed, whatever they are, because I don't believe there's two different PS5s. I don't think Sony would do that. And, we'll come back to this.
Who knows?
I'm interested to see what Xbox does at E3. I think they will show at least one of the two consoles. And now, who knows? Maybe this will work for Xbox. Maybe this will be the thing that gets them back in the race.
Well, you got to think about E3. They're going to have to announce something like the next Xbox because they're going to own the show.
Definitely, yeah.
So it's if they don't do something big, then Sony's just got to be dancing, thinking, oh my gosh, Microsoft has nothing up their sleeves then. If all they come out there is just show more clips of games that may or may not be coming out in the next year.
It'll be weird, though, because just 2 years ago, they announced the Xbox One X at E3, and now they're going to show another possible two consoles. Weird decision, but we'll see what happens.
That's no different than the PS Pro, though, right? Or is that
the PS Pro's been out longer. At the end of this year, it'll be 3 years. Because the PS4 Pro came out 9 months before, or a year before that Xbox One X.
It's been that long. Okay.
Well, it was a fun conversation.
All right, well,
we got a lot done. I shit on Beyond Two Souls for 20 minutes.
Time well spent.
No.
Shitting on the game is more entertaining than playing the game.
With that, we are now officially out of time.
See you guys next time.
On behalf of Dex and Healed, thanks for listening. See you next time.